Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chris McDaniel's America. I'm Jack Fairchild's, not Chris today, of course. Unfortunately, Chris had to attend a funeral and, found out last second, so he wasn't able to be with us today, but he didn't leave me by myself today because he sent his son, Cambridge McDaniel, to fill in. And of course, Cambridge is sitting over there in Chris's chair, and I'm in my normal chair, which I'm perfectly okay with. So Cambridge, welcome to Cambridge McDaniel's America today.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Well, Cambridge, you've grown up, in front of a lot of people in the state's eyes. You've been pretty much on a stage because your dad running for office and stuff. Folks around the state already know who you are, or at least they know who your dad is that you're your dad's son, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. What was it like growing up with your dad as involved in politics?
I'd say it was a really good experience. I'm glad he did it for the better future of me. At times it could be rough, but I know every time he came home, he'll always spend time with us and nobody else. So I'm very happy about that.
That's awesome. You definitely had to put up with, times where he had to be away because his job obligations and things like that. That can't always be easy on you and your brother Chamberlain, because you always want him there, but you always seem to understand, okay, yeah, he had to miss this ball game because they were in session or something like that. You always seem to be very understanding of that.
Yeah, I was always very understanding of that. I was very proud of him because I know he'd be there if he could. But I'm very glad that he chose to pursue trying to make a better future for me and my little brother. And yeah, I
understand.
I got lost there.
And that happens, but the other thing too, you've been on stage with your dad, you've had your photograph taken since you were, way smaller.
Yes.
How tall are you now, Cambridge?
6'3", 6'4".
6'3", 6'4". Yeah. Big monster of a man. Just started at Meridian Community College, where you're advancing your studies, but you're also going to play baseball there, correct?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit. This was your first week, right?
Right. The first week, it was a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of my classes. I'm a big fan of how they put them together. I'm a big fan of the labs, the math lab and the English labs and all those because, you got quiet, peace time, get all your work done, sitting there for as long as you want. I'm a big fan of the baseball, not a big fan of the hill.
Wait, you got to tell me what the hill is. We don't know what the hill is. Okay, what is the hill?
Well, it's safe to say the hill is this, how can I put this? It's something from, probably, like...
Is it a conditioning type deal?
Yes.
Could it also double as a punishment if you aren't doing good for the coach?
Yeah, absolutely terrible. The hill is extremely steep. It's like straight up, straight down, literally just like that. And I made the bad decision of not wearing cleats while running up it. So, going up and down it was absolutely terrible. Couldn't get my grip. I couldn't go down it too well. I was about to die, but
Cambridge, did you fall down the hill?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I could already see when you were describing it was hard without cleats to go up and down it. I was like, I think he fell down.
I'll never make that mistake again. But I am a really big fan of college. It's very flexible, very, very fun. And just to be with one of my best friends in my life, be my dorm mate, that makes it 10 times better because we get to hold each other accountable, and it's just really fun.
Well, Cambridge, your dad wrote a column that's in today's issue of the Laurel Leader Call. He's shared it as a Facebook post. Have you seen this column, these words he wrote about leaving you at your dorm the first day?
I did, and it meant a lot to me. It certainly, maybe kind of teary, but I was.
I think it made everybody kind of teary.
Oh yeah, I think so, especially my mama, if you could. But it really was. It was a powerful thing.
I mean, what's that? When you see something like that, did you have a clue how impactful you going off to college was going to be on them? Or did that kind of surprise you to see the raw emotion he put in words?
I knew it was going to be hard. I knew he was going to take it hard. Mm-hmm. I knew my mom was, obviously, my little brother too, but my dad, I know he felt really because I guess really sad, you could say.
But also excited for you.
Oh, yes. He was excited, sad, a lot of emotions all mixed together.
It's one of those things, Cameron, you won't understand until you have kids of your own.
Yeah,
it's just impossible to understand what it feels like to have your son, you've had in your home right there for 18 years to graduate high school and then go off to college. It's a huge transition. It's a great transition in some aspects, but it's still one of those things. I myself, I don't have kids, so I don't fully understand, what my parents went through when I left home.
Yeah. Everybody always, well, not everybody. My mom and dad always told me that you won't understand how much I love you till you have your own kids. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure how, I'm kind of ready to feel that. Not really. Mm-hmm. I got some time for that, but I'm starting to really understand what that means just a little bit, because they were telling me how dull the house was after I left, and how much, you could say, color kind of left. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it lost certain levels of goofiness too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But it is definitely a difficult time, and parents get used to it; they adjust to it. Mm-hmm. But it's still always can be difficult on them. Now, your dad, in his years in office, years in politics, has that inspired you to maybe one day, once you're done with school, done with baseball, to look down the political barrel yourself?
Absolutely. It absolutely has. I feel like that I'd be a great politician. I feel like I'd be a great senator in some aspects. I feel like I have the knowledge. I have basically a human Google right next to me, if I could just ask a question. And he can teach me a lot about it. I really am interested about it. I've always been. I always come home and I'd ask him what kind of laws they've been talking about, what kind of new policies and all that. But yes, I'm interested in that.
Now, one of the stories your dad has always told about running for office, it includes you when you were really little. He was running, I think it was when he was running against Thad Cochran, and they were running all those negative ads on him. He said he came home one day, and you were screaming at the TV, "You can't trust my dad," because you had seen one of those attack ads that had been thrown out at your dad. How especially at a young age. I mean, first, do you remember
Yes, I do.
Because you were little at that time, but you remember that incident.
I do.
Tell me how that made you feel, because I mean, again, being that young, it's hard to understand. That's just an ad.
I know.
Can you tell me how it felt to see some of the punches that were thrown his way?
Well, I could say one thing. That was absolutely infuriating for a little kid like me, because I'm over here like, are you kidding me? None of this is true. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, after I grown up and all, I'm like, politics is just saying things about the other opponent that aren't true. So, I mean,
it shouldn't be. It should be about people's records.
Yeah.
It's usually that way for the incumbent, because they can't explain their record. So they have to tear down any challenger, and they have so much money that they can bury you under the avalanche of attack ads.
I know, it's terrible.
And they don't have to be 100% true.
I know.
And that's the sad reality. And no matter how much people try to say, oh, I hate a negative attack ads, I hate them, they still work.
I know, you're still going to believe it.
You know, and that's the frustration. It's like the other day we had somebody come in the paper and say, you know, people don't want all these negative headlines with, you know, comments about, you know, somebody getting shot or things like that. They want feel-good stuff at the headlines. You know, yeah, I would love it if all the news was just feel-good stuff. But the truth is, you have something bad happen, you're probably going to sell more papers that week.
I know, right?
And, yeah, folks might complain. It's the same thing on the attack ads. They say that, oh, I hate attack ads, and then they get a mailer saying that the challenger is, you know, the worst person on earth. They vote for it. You know, it's a frustrating thing that happens in the world of politics. You know, and, you know, I guess I'll ask this question, since you have an interest in politics, knowing that may be awaiting you if you ever step up to run for an office years down the line. Does that factor into a decision about running, or is that one of those things like, look, I'm fighter like my dad, it's not going to stop me?
Oh, it ain't going to stop me. What are you talking about? They can say all the crap they want. It's not going to be true. And I'm going to point that out. If I get an ad, if I get enough money to do an ad, I'm going to point everything out that's incorrect, and I'm going to do proof that, I mean, you know, I'm correct about things, and he is not. I'm not going to attack him. I'm not going to, you know, say he's the worst person ever, he did all this stuff. That's not true. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to do this a fair fight. And if my opponent does not want to do that, well, either way, I feel like he'll regret it, or
you'll figure out a way to expose him.
I will.
Another way, you know, and that's one of those things, you know. I mean, politics is so nasty, and I wish it was the exchange of ideas that we are told that it should be in an election cycle. I mean, parties tell you all the time, oh, we love primaries, we want primaries. And then they go out of their way to destroy challengers to their precious incumbents. And that's the thing that drives me crazy. You know, one of the topics of discussion has always been term limits, you know, because I personally don't like the idea of politicians going to office and making it their career. Yeah. Getting rich off of the backs of the taxpayers is one of those things that completely frustrates me. You know, I'm assuming you're somebody that believes our country needs, I mean, if term limits are good enough for the presidency, why aren't they good enough for the Senate? Right? Why aren't they good enough for Congress? They're good enough for the governor's mansion. Why aren't they good enough for the Congress?
I know. I mean, like, you just have the same old guy in there, just keep on racking up money, the lobbyists and everything else. I mean, they just make deals they can't resist. And for some reason, people still vote for him. It seems like they don't even look at the other candidate about how much good stuff he has that the other candidate that's currently in the office does not have.
Well, there's something also Cambridge name recognition. You know, I mean, I've heard of this guy. Yeah. I hadn't heard of this guy. And, of course, the guy you've heard of also has way more money. So he's able to, if the incumbent is able to define who the challenger is, the race is already over. Because an incumbent has to have the ability, I mean, the challenger has to have the ability to define himself. But if he doesn't have any money, that makes it that much harder for him to be able to come up with that definition. That invites his challenger to have the opportunity to define him the way he wants him to. And I can guarantee you the incumbent's not going to define him in a positive light, because he wants to hold on to that little kingdom that he has. And that's part of the reason why, you know, term limits are necessary. Because, I mean, the founders, when they went to D.C., they lost money. Yeah. A lot of them came home in debt. And yet now we have elected officials go off to Washington and come back with way more money. They're millionaires all of a sudden. And it just was like, how's this happening? And it's frustrating for sure. I mean, I know if someone's elected, it's not wise for them to just term limit themselves. They have to fight to get something passed, because if the people that are for term limits leave after two terms, 4 terms, whatever it is, then we're never going to get term limits. So you have to have people there that are fighting for it. But it's a never-ending cycle, because most folks, the politicians don't want to vote for term limits because they don't want to give up that kingdom. Yeah. It's that simple. The argument with the people, because there are some folks out there that they don't want term limits. And I think it's because they bought into that same argument that we've heard time and time again. Term limits will only hold back our state. Term limits will kill our seniority and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the real question is, what have we ever gotten out of this seniority that they love to claim? More federal dollars, instead of us trying to figure out ways to do stuff ourselves. I personally think that Mississippi would be just fine if we could term limit our senators and our congresspeople. I don't think that would be a problem for our state the way that they want. The people that share that are some of the very people that are benefiting from it in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Cambridge, in your time, following around your dad on the campaign trails, is there any one person you got to meet on the campaign trails that sticks out to you as somebody that you really liked or, were impressed by?
That is a good question.
You've met everyone from Sarah Palin on down to other.
That is a good question. I met quite a few people.
Don't like ranking them.
Yeah, I don't really like ranking them. I mean, the only one that really stuck out to me was my dad's desk mate, Miss forget her name. I think Kathy
Chisholm.
Yes, her. She was always really nice to me, and she always made really good thoughts, votes, all that.
Yeah, she's probably our most conservative senator in the state Senate now. Yeah. So that's pretty cool too. You know, I mean, she's been on this program before. She's probably watching now, so I'm sure she's happy to hear you say that she was your favorite.
Yeah, she's definitely one of my favorites. She's a very nice lady.
When you look around at the world today, there's so much craziness happening. It can be overwhelming at times because, I mean, it seems like we get pushed from this side to change this thing, and we get pushed from that side to change this thing. One of the things that we've seen lately that is starting to have this makeover change is a restaurant that I know that you like to frequent when you're off on baseball tournaments, and it's Cracker Barrel. I mean, you're a big fan of Cracker Barrel. I understand that's a go-to on baseball tournaments, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
You've seen this controversy that started. They're wanting to do redesigns of the stores that are going to take away some of the homely feel, make it more sterile like most restaurants. And then they changed this logo. And while the logo change itself looks relatively simple, it's a boring design. I mean, removing the old man in the rocker with the barrel, I think that's become iconic as part of who Cracker Barrel is. And now they're just going to put this very bland Cracker Barrel logo that looks like everybody else's logo. Let's just be honest about it. There's nothing about that. It's a minimalist approach that is terrible. And they're catching a ton of backlash from it, Cambridge. And folks are, claiming they've gone woke. Even if they hadn't gone woke, it's just a terrible design, Cambridge. What do you make of a company like this, a beloved brand, trying to throw out some of the things that made it beloved in the first place?
Okay. Well, first of all, that was an absolute terrible decision by the people that are high in office at Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel is a homey-style restaurant with flavor comfort. It might be the most, come-together place I know of. I could go there any place. There would be multiple people. I'm talking about, there was absolutely no reason to make it woke. There was no reason for for the people to even change anything. There was nothing wrong with it. There was nothing racist. And
I don't know if they've even accused it of being, racist or anything like that. It's just, it seems to be that there's just this push to change every norm that we have. And Cracker Barrel is one of those, again, folks say that nostalgia doesn't sell. Hogwash.
It absolutely does. Yeah.
I mean, if Pizza Hut wanted to save its restaurants, it would go back to the old little hanging lights and the checkerboard tablecloths across them and the Pac-Man machine in the corner. Everyone that is going to these more minimalistic style that we're seeing in these restaurants, it's not helping their bottom line. And the fact that Cracker Barrel thought that this was the direction, I mean, I think they're getting slapped in the face with reality right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you saw their stock over the last 3 days, I mean, it's lost millions. And it's just, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, and I don't blame them either. Yeah. Cracker Barrel is a homey style restaurant that decided
to be less homey style.
Literally, I know. I mean, it's kind of like tents now, I mean, you saw some of the new designs on social media and stuff. That's just not it. That is not Cracker Barrel. I mean, we go in there for nostalgic things. The gift shop, all the old sodas, old candy, all the old toys, all the old clothes. It was incredible, and it makes it really homey and really just a pleasure to be there. Sometimes the food, it's really good 90% of the time, and sometimes they don't put enough seasoning or they don't do
same
nothing.
As any restaurant.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, at Cracker Barrel, you don't really care about that because you're having such a good time with the ones you love or somebody you're talking to. I mean, there's not really a reason to change
it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sterile look that they're going for, and the logo, if that's what they're going for, is a sterile look, the logo fits it. Because it couldn't be any more boring or bland than what they gave us, and it's one of those things. And their CEO's been going around and is completely tone deaf over this controversy, because she's trying to say, "Oh, everybody loves it," and we got to bring Cracker Barrel into more modern times and stuff like that, to where it's like, I don't know anybody that was calling for that. I theorize their CEO, after seeing her and listening to her talk, she's never even eaten at a Cracker Barrel, which begs the question, how she become a CEO of a company.
I know, right?
You're a baseball fan, obviously as a baseball player. So, I mean, I often am very critical of Major League Baseball's current commissioner, Rob Manfred, because he's constantly tinkering with things and rules within the game. And it's similar here, because, again, if you're going to be put in charge of a product, you should have a certain level of admiration for that product. And when I see folks like Manfred or this CEO of Cracker Barrel that show me that they don't necessarily have that sense of value of the product that they're supposed to be a steward over, it drives me crazy, because, again, they're destroying the brand. They're destroying everything that made folks want to go there in the first place. Let me ask you this. If let's say you're playing a baseball tournament, we'll say it's somewhere in Tennessee, and you pull up to a Cracker Barrel with your teammates and families, and if that's a more modern approach Cracker Barrel, are you going to go in there, or are you going to keep going down the road and see if maybe there's a Denny's down the road or something else?
I'm most certainly not going to be putting my money in there, because I guarantee you there's a Whataburger down the road that's 10 times better. And probably a homey style restaurant in one of those little towns, because there's a lot of them and they're really good.
Yeah, those home style restaurants, locally owned ones, those are usually some of the best for sure. I'm a big fan of the local flair.
Me too.
So it's going to be interesting to see. You got to figure at some point they are going to have to question whether or not they want to go forward with this rebrand, redesign based on the backlash they've gotten. based on the stock price. If they're bullheaded and stubborn and decide to continue to go through with it, I'm not sure that Cracker Barrel will be around in 5-10 years. And that's a shame because, I mean, like you said, it's good food. It's always been a good place for families to go gather, no matter where they are. I mean, most major cities, at least in the South, have a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Sitting on that front porch that they have built in, the rocking chairs, all that stuff was part of the appeal.
Yeah.
And to me, when you see this, it's a slap in the face of Americana. It's a slap in the face of everything that nostalgia that we love about this country. And the fear is, and this is where folks say that this attempted rebrand is woke, they fear that it's being attempted to be rebranded because there is this anti-old school America sentiment. And it does exist within the left, but it's not as strong as a lot of these companies want you to believe. Yeah. It's not as strong as the liberals want you to believe. If it was, we'd be looking at President Kamala Harris right now. Yeah. We'd be looking at President Hillary Clinton just having left office. The anti-American sentiment that the left loves to try to push down, it's not there the way that they try to pretend it is. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the reason why we get so frustrated, so protective of it. Now, I know we're getting close to a break. How much time do we have for it? So this is a good time to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking with Cambridge McDaniel as he fills in for his dad. He's doing a great job today, so we'll continue to keep up these discussions. This is Chris McDaniel. No, this is Cambridge McDaniel's America, right here on the Midnight Ride Network. We'll be right back.
Resort.
Welcome back here to Chris McDaniel / Cambridge McDaniel's America. We're sitting in with Cambridge McDaniel, Chris's oldest son, who is gracious enough to sit in with us after spending his first week off at college at Meridian Community College, where he is hoping to be the starting first baseman for the team. Of course, that's a long ways away and a lot of practice before or anything like that becomes official. But I know you're enjoying your times. Tell me a little bit about balancing. I know it's just 1 week, but balancing class and baseball practice. Is it similar to what you were doing in high school, or is it a little more? Is it a little more intense?
Well, it's not really intense. I'm more motivated to do my work. I'll tell you that. If anything, I'm a fan of how they got it set up. It's really good. I get all my work done, and if you don't get your work done, coach, you're gonna send you right back. So you get your work done, or you get your grades up. So I'm a big fan of that. And if anything, I feel like it's a little more structured than high school.
Now, your hope is to not be one of the ones that gets sent back to fix stuff. You want to have it done right the first time.
Oh, yeah, I better have it done the first time.
Yeah, you were saying you feel like it's a little more structured than high school?
Absolutely.
So you guys are on, of course, classes all have a schedule. I'm assuming your days are pretty much mapped out for you because you go to class at this time, you go to practice at this time, go to a study hall at this time. I mean, is it pretty neat how the athletic department helps you guys?
Oh, yes, it's very neat. I'm a big fan of it. I feel like after you get out of class, sometimes if you get your work done early, they'll release you. You can go to the study hall, get your 3 hours you need for baseball, and then after that, you can either go to your dorm, go to the cafeteria, go into the locker room and hang out with your buddies. That's about it.
The world's gotten crazier, and we've been talking about it because we were talking about before the break the Cracker Barrel rebrand, which makes zero to no sense why you would change something that is beloved by so many people. And I think they're getting a loud message with the stock drops and the social media backlash. Who knows if they'll listen and do what they need to do to save their company, but I hope they do.
Yeah,
you know. But one of the things that is also making the social media rounds is these two male cheerleaders for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, they're not just, I know people are like, oh, there's always been male cheerleaders. They've always, and that's true.
They're
always
just not like, listen, there's a girl standard and a boy standard.
Mm-hmm.
Boy standard is to be strong, to lift them up, to fly them. And the girl standard is to,
dance and
go
be the entertainment.
Yeah, entertain, fly up. The boys, that's not their job. That's not their duty. And it's always been like that. And what the Minnesota Vikings have going on is just
it's weird.
It's very strange.
I mean, because what they have two male cheerleaders that are going on, and they're actually working in these dance routines and they're doing these provocative dances that you normally associate with the female cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to choreograph right there with them. And here's the real question, and this is a question for all of you guys. What football fan was asking for this? I mean, again, this is another one of those, the left trying to push something on people mm-hmm. despite the fact they don't necessarily want it. They don't necessarily, no football fan was asking for male cheerleaders to be dancing with the girls mm-hmm. and acting very effeminate right there with the female cheerleaders. And that's the thing, if you want that type of entertainment, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're talking about
football. A manly game.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Women, they don't necessarily like going to football games. If you go to a football game, mm-hmm. it's just going to be men everywhere.
There are some women out there that absolutely love football, but for the most part, I can go back to my mother. She never was that interested in it. She liked going to Southern Miss games because that's where she went to school. But for the most part, she's not going to turn on a football game. She's not going to watch a football game on TV. She has no interest in them outside of a vague interest in her alma mater. So, she's not going to turn on the NFL on a Sunday, So I don't get where the Minnesota Vikings or the NFL thinks that this is a smart move, because it's not appealing to the average fan. Yeah. And that's, again, this is another one of those woke, nonsensical things. Oh, we got to do it so we can say we were the first to. Do you? Or is this one of those things where you're just pushing a button to push a button? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is. I don't think it has anything to do with common sense here. Know your audience. It goes back to the same thing we were talking about with Cracker Barrel. You don't know your audience. Your audience is football fans. And I can tell you this, the female football fans, they don't want to see this either. Mm-mm. This is for a group that's not watching your games. They're not going to watch your games because how often are these folks going to be on the television screen? Maybe every now and then right before a commercial break or right after a big play. They're not the featured attraction. So it seems to me it's a very silly move by this franchise to do this. It's a silly move for the NFL to try to promote this. And that's one of those things that it just like, do we really have to check every diversity checkbox everywhere? I don't know anybody that was complaining that we didn't have dancing men with the dancing female cheerleaders. I'm sorry, you guys tell me if I'm missing something. I don't think it was happening. It's going to be interesting to see how they continue. If other teams are going to pick up the trend, I think they're locked in where they're going to have to go through with it for the season. As ridiculous as it is, mm-hmm. they're going to be stuck with this path.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see if others try it, because you know how it is. And I think that's part of the reason why the NFL has seen some folks turn them off. Now, don't get me wrong, the NFL is still drawing good ratings. It's still the juggernaut sports league in our country, probably only second to, I think college football might be ahead of it, but it's a behemoth. We love our football, mm-hmm. plain and simple. There are several folks that I know that have turned off the NFL, but there are also folks that don't like what they're doing, but they're going to turn it on every Sunday no matter what, because it's habit at this point. And they love football, and I'm not going to fault you for it. But, I mean, this is just silly. I mean, and you have a certain level of silliness that the left just continues and continues to push. I mean, this is why they lost the election, Cambridge. They lost the election because of how absurd they were. Donald Trump was able to tap in to a lot of our frustration and outrage at a lot of this stuff, and he utilized that to elevate himself the first election and then this past one. And I think that that's one of the things that the left still doesn't understand, because they continue to try to double down on gimmicks like this. I guess they think if they just slowly push more and more of the nonsense on us, we're just going to roll over and fade. But I don't see that happening, because they're getting a lot of pushback. You know, the fact that they've fought for men and women's sports. I mean, Cambridge, if you were to, and again, I know you're not, but if you were to just declare yourself as a female and go join the softball team, do you think you'd have an advantage?
Well, it's safe to say I'd hit about 90 home runs with about 250 RBIs. And
once you got used to the weird pitch. Yeah. I get it. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's okay to admit that men and women are different and that we have difference. Doesn't mean that women can't play sports. Doesn't mean that they can't be excellent at their sports. Mm-hmm. We've seen, Serena Williams dominate tennis, but she's competing against other women. Yeah. How would she fare against men? Probably would be a struggle for her. And that's not wrong to say. I know there are people out there that would, criticize me for saying that.
Yeah, it's just reality.
But there's just a reality to it. And I think that's one of the things that the left will never accept. They want to push back against any norms. It's why they want to change Cracker Barrel. It's why they want to have dancing male cheerleaders doing provocative female-style dances. It's why they continue to push. But maybe they're not pushing as much of the ridiculousness, Cambridge, because I found another story. And this story says that talking points are being put out that are instructing Democrats to stop using terms like birthing person, to stop using things like that, and to talking like their words, not mine, a normal person. The first details, they are just trying to explain. It's a group that's called Third Way, a leftist think tank that is trying to position itself as a moderate option. They released this memo on Thursday calling on Democrats who wish to stop Donald Trump and MAGA to stop using words and phrases no ordinary person would say. The Third Way blacklist is broken down into 6 categories. Those include therapy speak, seminar room language, organizer jargon, gender/orientation correction, the shifting language of radical constructs, explaining away crime. So again, those are the subcategories. They say it's one of those things that is just crazy. And here's a taste of some of the blacklisted terms, Cambridge. They want them to stop using the term incarcerated people, justice involved, dialoguing, triggering, which, triggering usually stems from when you tell the truth. I'm sure I trigger people all the time. Microtransgressions, which typically means you offended somebody with very thin skin. They don't want them to use the term body shaming anymore. Subverting norms. They don't like them to use the term systems of oppression. Cultural appropriation is another one they're telling them to steer clear of. That's, when you're accused because, let's say, Cambridge, enjoys soul food, He's being accused of cultural appropriation, even though he's just eating the food he enjoys. The unhoused is another one that they use instead of homeless people. Why can't you say homeless?
Yeah.
We've said it for years. Food insecurity. That's one I hadn't heard much about, but apparently that's coming up short at the end of the month, because you don't have enough money. So instead of saying, you didn't spend wisely, they want to say it's a food insecurity. I hadn't heard that one before today. Then there's housing insecurity, which, could also be homeless people, or it could also be, you having trouble paying your rent or something. Person who immigrated, for instead of saying a foreigner, and again, I guess in this instance, we're talking about a legal immigrant. They want to say person who immigrated, referring to a woman as a birthing person. You can't say mom. That's your birthing person. So cisgender, which is normal people.
Wait. You just said cisgender?
Cisgender. That's
they just making up words at this point.
That's just a normal person. You identify as, you were born a man, you identify as a man. They call that cisgender. That's just being normal people. Yeah. Pregnant people, instead of just saying pregnant woman, because they still want to include that somehow a man can be pregnant. Can't. There's science involved, which they love to point to science when they think it betters it, but they'll ignore it on stuff like this. Let's see, what is this one? Dead naming. That's when somebody has transitioned and now has a female name, but you always knew him as Frank. Mm-hmm. And you still refer to him as Frank. That's dead naming, because that name apparently is dead or whatever. They don't want him to say that anymore, Cambridge. Heteronormative, and there's no definition on what it says beside it in the article I found. No one really knows what this means.
What is it?
So we can't define that one.
All right.
So, yeah, involuntary confinement, instead of saying that someone was arrested, convicted, and justice was found, they've been involuntarily confined. So, yeah, these are all things that this think tank is telling liberals that maybe we should get away from saying, and it's insane that it has to be said to them. It's insane that somebody has to go through a list. And when you couldn't help but laugh when I was reading it to you, Cambridge, and I get that. It's just, this is where we are in this country. And it's crazy that we didn't get here overnight. The fact that the modern American left went as far as they came up. I mean, you heard the term triggering, because that was, I'm triggered.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we make a joke out of it.
Yeah,
it was like, you triggered me.
It was a large amendment at one point, and people just decided, it's offended now. I don't know.
It's just one of those things when you look at how insane our society has become. The left still hasn't accepted the fact that the reason Donald Trump rose to power and was elected in the first place is junk like this that we just went over. This liberal think tank that is trying to claim it's moderate, they at least get it. I don't think that the liberals out there are going to be able to help themselves. I think they now have fallen into that trap where they want to go down this rabbit hole time and time again. But it's crazy, because, we live in a world where they want anything that we held as a social norm, they want to try to affect and move us away from that. That's something that, again, I push back against. I think we all push back against. I know, your father pushes back against it. How silly is some of this stuff that there are grown people that need to be told that you probably, need to move away from talking about dead naming or, calling homeless housing insecurity or whatever other nonsense they had. It's just crazy when you see this. Tell me what you think when you hear some of those terms.
Well, first of all, I was obviously laughing. That is the most hilarious, ridiculous thing I have heard. So I haven't even heard of some of those things. It's like,
you're triggering me now.
Oh Lord, I know. It looks like some type of video game language, if you will. Like, I ain't even
like one that was translated and not translated correctly.
Yeah.
Type video game language. Yeah. How many of those? I mean, you'd heard some of them. Of course, I know you've heard microtransgression and body shaming. It's just crazy to me that we can't be allowed to just live our lives. I mean, even you coming on the show, how to steer clear, because even though you're an 18-year-old, kid for the most part, there are folks that are, if you say something they think's too crazy, they don't care. They get in their mindset that they have to cancel everyone right away. Mm-hmm. And that's ridiculous, and there are folks, I guarantee you, that would be afraid, your age, that would be afraid, agree 100% with us, but would be afraid to sit in front of a camera and talk about some of this nonsense because they'd be afraid somebody's going to cancel them or you try to use something against them.
I mean, they're not going to cancel you if you haven't joined anything. That's what I mean.
Don't be so sure. They might cancel you from everything. Right. See if I can get you removed from school. I mean, it's some of the stuff that they go to, the lengths that they're willing to go, is absurd to me. I mean, the fact that they have, you've seen this because you're a sports fan. They've dug back through some of these athletes' tweets. Where maybe they, when they were in high school, they put something out that was stupid, and it was stupid. Yeah. And they've tried to, well, you can't support this player because, he said this when he was 12. We also, look, I'm very grateful social media wasn't around when I was in high school because I wouldn't be sitting in front of this camera. You at least grew up with it, so you probably have a better idea how to police yourself around it.
Yeah, I'd be all right. Yeah, I have seen some of those, and that is, obviously, they shouldn't have said some of those things, but you got to think they're in high school, they're kids still. Mm-hmm. You can't.
Well, they weren't just doing it. Because
they were just trying to do it to be funny. They weren't trying to hurt nobody.
Well, there's some things too, where if you want to truly understand how far off the modern American left is, go look at private messages sent to a conservative, a known conservative. You go look at some of the things that they will send us.
Absolutely terrible. That's the most nasty stuff you'll ever see. Yeah.
Wishing death upon you, but not just death in the most horrible ways imaginable. For the most part, a lot of these liberals are pretty miserable people. They can jump on social media and say anything they want because they're not sitting across from you. They're not sitting there saying to your face these things. If they did, they'd probably get knocked on their rear.
Yeah, start crying.
It's one of those. Wouldn't be a microtransgression. It might be a full-fledged transgression at this point, or aggression. However you want to say it. But these are the silly things that we went to. And maybe this is a good thing. I think that this group is probably not going to ever back candidates that any of us like, but it would be wise for the Democrats to stop going down this rabbit hole and continuing to push these type of terminologies, and it's crazy. And what's going to happen. And this article that I found is kind of making fun of it, Cambridge, because, when you look at it, you see that they are, talking about what will Democrats say instead if they don't say birthing person or pregnant people. What term do they use? If they stop saying, incarcerated people or justice involved, what word do they use? So again, it's one of those things that they, if they change away from these, I don't think they're going to go back to saying a pregnant woman. I don't think they're going to go back to saying a mother. I think they'll just come up with a new stupid term.
Yeah, literally.
Because I don't see them giving up their insanity. So I'm not sure that this group is going to be worked. And liberals, while we're at it, can you stop saying that everybody that disagrees with you is a Nazi? I mean, that's kind of jumping the shark.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not being a conservative is not being a Nazi. It's not being a fascist. If anything, the way that you guys act is probably more in line with that, because we just want you out of our business. We want you to leave us alone. That's not too much to ask for. That's nothing too hard. If you want to run around and use these silly terms, as long as they're not directed at me or in a way to try to make me feel lesser than, I don't care. Knock yourself out. You can talk however you want in my mind, but it is silly. And you have, Cambridge, I don't know, are you familiar with the term jumping the shark?
Jumping the shark. I've heard it.
Well, I can explain to you. Jumping the shark is a term that was given to TV shows that had been on the air for a while, and then they made a decision during the show that led to the show's downfall. The show was less good after that moment. And it comes from a Happy Days episode where the Fonz literally jumped over a shark. So, and folks point to that episode as the downfall of Happy Days. And now it's become this universal term, given to shows that have that moment. It's not literally jumping the shark but it's the moment that leads to the show's dip in quality. Jumping the shark has also been utilized, when we're talking about political things and political movements. I think a lot of these liberals have jumped the shark already with some of this stuff, and I'm not sure some of them can get back. And for one, I guarantee you that some of them are already screaming that this group is committing a microtransgression against them by even labeling some of the things that they are telling them that they should avoid saying and talk like a normal. Do you think that the purple-haired liberal lady is not going to be offended by this think tank group telling her that she needs to talk like a normal person? Because in her mind, she's talking like a normal person. So, I mean, basically, do you think that they'll heed this advice, or do you think that even if they do, they'll just make up their own new terms?
Oh, they're 100% going to make up new terms. They're just going to keep on saying nonsense, they're just trying to get attention.
Well, Cambridge, I know we're getting close to the end of this particular episode, about 5 minutes away, so trying to think, there's a lot of speculation, right now about your dad, and whether or not he's going to run for another office or anything like that. I'm not going to ask you, to tell anybody if you know anything, because I don't think you'd tell us if you did. But I mean, what's it mean to you to look up, knowing how many punches and haymakers your dad's had to take throughout the years, to see that there's still a groundswell of support for him, that there's still a large number of people that would love to see him run for another office?
I want to say one thing. People have realized that he's right. I mean, until 2014, 2018, and
2023.
Yeah. People, obviously, with all the hate ads and everything else, they obviously voted against him. But now they have come to realize he was right, Mm-hmm. He was right. He would have been a much better fit than any one of those folks. I am glad things worked out the way they did. I'm blessed because of that. But every time my dad, takes a punch, he punches back, and he punches back harder. And he fights, and he don't give up.
Yeah, I mean that's the Scotch Irish in him.
Yeah,
right?
you can try to take him out of something, but he's literally gonna do the same thing in the place you put him.
You have a little bit of that fight. I mean, you kind of have to be a baseball player, right?
You got to.
I mean, because you're not going to get a hit every time you step up to the plate. You're going to go through peaks and valleys. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a Chicago Cubs fan. I'm a Chicago. They've been in a deep valley for the last month and a half.
They've been in a sand trap. They've been in a mud pit. I
might get you in trouble. You're not going to get in trouble on talking the politics. You might get in trouble when you start talking about the Cubs, right?
I love the Cubs, but they've been struggling at the moment. I pray they find out something.
Hey, they did take 3 of 5 from the Brewers and won last night. So
Pete Armstrong, you back up, man.
See, maybe you'll have to come in and sit in with us on the Leader Call Sports Show. Maybe you'll have more fun on that too. So Cambridge, what's something you would want to, if there's anything you want to just tell the audience, about, I know you're still growing into politics. One of the things that always impressed me with you is you're not afraid to ask a question.
Oh, yeah.
You'll go up to your dad, you'll come up to me, and you just be like, this doesn't make sense. Why are we doing this? Or why is this the way that it is? Mm-hmm. You've always had that inquisitive mind, even when you were, little guy. So, I mean, what, tell the audience, if there's anything you want to share with them here at the end, why you're so inquisitive. What led to your interest, in just expanding your knowledge on not just politics, but history and other topics?
Well, I do want to say, if I have my mind made up on something, and if I'm really interested in something, I want to keep learning it. I want to keep understanding it. And if I don't, I mean, I'm, if it's like math or something, if it's biology, I'm not really, if I have to study, I'll study, but I don't want to. I want to find out stuff that I want to learn about,
Is it, when you have one of those courses that obviously you have to take, is a little bit of harder work than it is the history class, is what you're saying?
Yes, it is.
But you put in the work regardless, just because you have to have it, even though it frustrates you.
You always got to do things you don't like.
Any messages for your mom and dad, after, this past week, your first week away at college, any message you want to have for them, now that you've gone through week 1?
Well, first of all, I love them more than anything. They're, they kept me alive.
That was harder than you think.
Shit. They made me the person I am today. I'm very thankful for that. They always say the right things, in my opinion. They always give me a good example to act on. And I pray that Chamberlain comes around to that. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with them. That's a joke. But I love them very much, and I'm very, very thankful for having them. I'm very glad God put me on this earth and let me be their son. It's honestly a blessing.
Well, what did you think of your first time sitting in your dad's chair, being a guest / host of Chris McDaniel's America?
I really enjoyed it. Over here I watch him on Facebook all the time, and I always listen to it. I think it's really cool. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I think I've just been waiting.
Well, you did a good job, Cambridge, and if you knew the outro, I'd tell you to take us out, but it's real easy. You just simply say you've been watching Chris McDaniel's America / Chamberlain. Cambridge, not Chamberlain. He's not with us.
All right.
Here on the Midnight Ride Network, your home of the anti-establishment.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right, now. You've been watching the Right Side Radio.
No, that's my show.
No, my bad.
See, you already messed up the outro.
You've been watching Chris McDaniel's America / Cambridge McDaniel's America.
Here on the Midnight
Ride Network.
Your home. For the
anti-establishment movement.
Perfect. You didn't even need coaching. Can we fix that in post? Guys, thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, Cambridge, for being here.
Yes, anytime.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took My Pillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented My Pillow to bring you the best pillow in history, My Pillow 2.0. Just like all of you, I never imagined that My Pillow could get any better. That's why I haven't changed it in nearly 20 years. Then I heard about a revolutionary new technology, and I knew I had to bring it to you all. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
The My Pillow 2.0 is cooler and softer than the last My Pillow. It is so comfortable to sleep on at night. I look forward to going to bed, and I wake up well rested in the morning.
Sleep is all about temperature and height. My Pillow 2.0's patented adjustable fill is going to give you the exact individual support you need from your head to your bed. And now here's where it gets even better. We've all experienced those temperature-related sleep interruptions where you get too hot, you toss and turn, you flip your pillow over to the cool side. Well, all that's gone with my brand new My Pillow 2.0 cooling fabric that's made with temperature-regulating thread.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a MyPillow or not, you need to get the brand new MyPillow 2.0. Call or go to MyPillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Visit MyPillow.com.